to the creator's journey with the halfling and the spaceman. We love talking to all sorts of creators about their journeys and how they became creators. And today we are excited to have with us James Metz. Uh, James has always had a desire to do something for the betterment of life and to show his appreciation for life. And to that end, he has written a book called Planet Storyland. And we are excited to talk to him. Welcome, James.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are excited and very grateful to have you. uh, well, as I said before we got started, when I was reading about your book, I just I had an appreciation for the inspiration and what sort of led you to that, and we'll talk, we'll talk about that. But I was just really I I was just really blown away by the fact that you did this, and so I'm excited to talk with you. So we're gonna get this party started, as they say. Let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your sort of your formative years, and most importantly, let's get to the good stuff. How you came to write this book.
My formative years started with my mother. My mother read a lot of
Mhm.
books to me. And when she would read the books, it sounded as though she was the author of the books. And so that was the beginning. And then I believe I was at the age of 7 when she took me to the library to get my first library card. And I remember her walking me up the steps, holding my hand. So that was the beginning, um, from what I can remember. Although when I did enter fourth grade is where I would spend a lot of time going to the library. And I'm certain that I read every title in that library. Not every book, but every title.
Mm.
Um, when I was in fourth grade, I was also in a book club. And so there was a book, it was a series, Encyclopedia Brown, the kid detective. I
Mm.
had read that series. I was really intrigued. It was great writing. I had read other books as well, but that series I remember specifically because every time they came out with a new book, then I purchased it.
Mm.
Other than that, I had a rock collection. I had a um, I read a lot of books about birds, and I fed them. And there was one that ended up becoming a friend, and I would feed it cashews, and sometimes it would just hang out on the deck with me. And then I also had a greenhouse that I had a lot of plants.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, I do remember at 7 one time having a pad and pen and sitting out on the porch, front porch, wanting to write something, but nothing came of that.
Mm.
I wanted to write, but nothing was coming out. So that was I guess, a hint into my future that maybe I would end up writing something.
Mm.
Um, as I got older, there were other attempts to write, but it only went as far as I think I maybe wrote like 40 pages one time, but
Mhm.
the inspiration wasn't there. And so um, it just ended until
Mm.
I got the inspiration for Planet Storyland, which was probably a little bit more than 10 years ago. So, do I explain what inspired me to write the book, or do you have another question for me?
Well, I get we definitely wanna hear what inspired you. We'll definitely get to that, but I do wonder what you did between that time when you first tried your hand at writing and then you found, the inspiration just hasn't been there. What what did you come to do during that time?
I did go off to college, and there was a course that I took, psychology. I wanted to find out what it was about. And the textbook was titled The Psychology of Science Fiction. Imagine that.
Oh, oh,
There was a story in there that we were to read and we were tested on, and it was called Free Men. And it was about the creation of a perfect school where they gathered the smartest infants from around the world and the smartest professional teachers from around the world in all different professions, even married couples, as long as they were able to explain their subject to the children and also with a loving spirit.
mhm,
And so, as a result of that, these kids later on started teaching the teachers new math and new sciences. And I just thought that that was pretty amazing story to bring up
mhm,
because, I mean, we all want to have fun when we're in school and we do want to learn. Just finding the inspiration a lot of times as kids is really hard. So I thought that
yeah,
was a rather interesting story. That story I just never forgot. And I recently looked it up online and was able to find that particular story. And so I printed it out. And I was just thankful for the internet because without it, that wouldn't happen, you know.
So, the Internet's good for something at least.
Well, I use it more as a tool. I don't play any games on it.
Huh,
I think it's an excellent tool. It would have been nice if I had had it when I was young.
yeah, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's amazing.
uh,
It's amazing some of the things that we can do with the internet, because of that search engine. It has so much information available to us that, I mean, to get something instantaneous is absolutely amazing.
yeah, yeah. Uh, well, I guess we can go ahead and talk a little bit about what inspired you to write, to write this book. Uh,
Oh,
yeah,
now that's a good one. Okay, so
yeah, yeah,
one of the
it
things I
is.
failed to mention is that I've um, worked in aircraft manufacturing most of my life.
Mhm.
And I
Oh, okay.
recently retired from Lockheed from the F-35 program. When it came down to this book, I had always had this question in my mind: what would a kid from another planet think about how we live?
Mhm.
And so there was an event that took place one evening. And when I got home, I just decided, you know something? I am going to get a pad and pen and I'm going to answer this question. So I got a pad and pen and I set it on my nightstand and I laid down and closed my eyes and thought about the question. And my imagination took over. And the next thing I know, I'm just laying there listening and watching a scene play out. About 15 minutes into it, say, hey, you better sit up and write this down, or otherwise you'll forget. So I wrote everything I could remember down. And then the next day, I read what I wrote and I lay back and closed my eyes. And then the scene played out from there. And I sat up about 15 minutes later and wrote that down. And that went on for about 30 days until I
Wow.
had my first draft. But the initial motivation was a question, which is, what would a kid from another planet think about how we live?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a good question. It's something that I think it's something that we should be thinking about more than we do.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we think about it every day.
Well,
Well,
there's people joke about aliens that come, that come and wanna come down to our planet, and they, they're listening from, from space, and they listen to some of the drama and everything, and they just keep going. They're like, "Nope, we're not we're not
We're not stopping here.
we're not sto this is not a good pit stop. We're
yeah,
gonna keep
but
going."
Janet, you're forgetting we're mostly harmless.
We are?
Yes, that is true.
Okay. You're talking about humanity in general?
I'm talking about The Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh, okay.
One of her favorite books, and of course she misses the reference.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Now.
All right, go for it.
All right, my turn.
Your turn.
So when you're not busy writing and you're not thinking about your next book, what do you do? You just mentioned you're retired.
Yes.
So what kind of cool things you got going on otherwise?
I play a lot of pickleball. I do play or attempt to play golf a little bit. I ride my bike. I swim. I do a little bit of landscaping. And I'm in 2 Toastmasters groups.
Oh.
So my time is, I guess you would say I'm kind of busy, even though I'm retired.
A little
A
bit.
little bit, yes.
A little bit.
And I do watch a lot of YouTube videos just to see what's going on.
We watch more YouTube videos than we really should admit to.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have brought that up because it's the same here. I told a friend of mine, I said, if it hadn't been for my brother suggesting that I look at something on YouTube, at some news item or something like that, I never would have spent all the time that I do. And now it's almost like I need to go to some sort of therapist.
It's amazing how these things can become a rabbit hole, because I had a friend of mine, there is a website called TV Tropes, and he became a TV tropes addict, which, lists all the different, has different TV shows and all the different tropes that appear in them. And he would just sit there and read this for hours and hours and hours and talk about
Wow.
it. Yeah. And that's just not something I would have ever imagined going down a rabbit hole on, but it is what it is.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
the thing about YouTube is it's sort of like the internet, what you were saying about the internet, that it has its uses, and if you use it in a good way, that then it's good. It's a good thing to have, because there's so many things out there that are teaching you how to do things. There's so many people
Yes.
out there that are teaching you how to do things. There are channels that take you to places that you never could go to,
Yes.
yourself. So, I mean, there's some good there, you know. So it's like the internet, I mean, with the internet, you can go down the rabbit hole. I mean, it's
Yes.
the easy thing to do. Um, Same thing with YouTube, but if you use it in a good way, then it's a good thing to have. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes.
whatever.
No, it is. It is. Because I've used YouTube when I had an older car and I had a problem with a water pump. I looked it up on
Mm.
YouTube only because someone had suggested that, you could probably fix some problems on your car yourself. All you have to do is use YouTube. And I said, really? And he's like, yeah. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, step by step.
Yep. Yep. Uh,
My brother has a SUV that they quit making one of the replacement parts for, and he was able to get onto YouTube and figure out how to rebuild one of the actuators. I can't remember what it was part
Oh,
of,
really?
but yeah, he found a step-by-step tutorial. Now, keep in mind, my brother is a skilled tradesman, so none of this stuff is,
Yeah.
electrical, electronics, all that. He does all of it.
Wow.
So none of it was strange to him, but he was able to take this thing apart and rebuild it at home on the dining room table.
Wow.
So yeah, there's
Now
good
that's
stuff out
something.
there. That is something.
See, we're really extremely smart.
well, he's got smarts in certain areas. He's like everybody.
Yes.
Everybody can excel at everything.
Yes.
So you have your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yes.
Uh, well, okay, we need to get back on track here.
All right.
So I I'm wondering if you plan to write another book, or is this a one-off for you? You've done you've done your great thing with writing this book, and that's it. And you don't have any plans to write another one.
I've been asked that question a number of times, and I've thought about it. I have ideas of what
Hmm.
could possibly be a book. Um, this particular Planet Storyland was quite a challenge. 7 years in the making, and it only has 106 pages to it.
Hmm.
And I worked on the wording daily,
Hmm.
rearranging sentences and paragraphs. And it was quite a challenge for me. But I was determined to either succeed or fail. It was just that was the challenge. Is James, either you're going to write this or you're just going to forget about it.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if I have that kind of energy to do it again. Although I think if I were to write another one, it wouldn't take as I would hope it wouldn't take as long, because 7 years, even though that is a good length of time, I through all the frustration, I loved every bit of it, even through the frustration, you know, because even though I wanted to just put it aside, throw it away, forget about it, I never could forget about it. I always came back to it. I guess I was in love. I don't know.
Well, sometimes that's what keeps us going. It's that drive, that passion for that one thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it may
Yeah.
be that Planet Storyland is the one and only, but I don't know yet. For now, it is.
But you don't have any plans to make a second career as a writer.
No, no,
That's what I'm hearing is there's no plans for you to have a career as a
no,
writer.
no. I commend anybody that has written a book, and especially people that have written several books and that have more than the 100 pages that I have. I don't know how they did it, because I was constantly reading my book over and over and over again. That Planet Storyland is the only book that I've probably read 100 times. I've never read a book more than twice. But that one, it was just, I had to read it aloud. I had a computer read it back to me. I had to read it silently. There was just so much to it that,
Mhm.
um, anyway,
Let's just
I don't
be
know how they do it. It's kind of like what you said before, Janet, that there are some people that they're gifted in some areas, but not in others. And I guess you have to have a gift to write a series of books. That's what I think, because mine, it was almost like an assignment that I was given, and I didn't know how I was going to complete it. And eventually, I had to enlist the help of professionals to, the editing and the formatting, the proofreading.
Mhm.
Because I couldn't just say, "Hey, James, look, okay, so you've written all this. You must know what you're talking about. You must know what you're doing." And no, I had enough sense to know that I should hand it off and let somebody look at it and give me
Mhm.
some feedback.
James, honestly, if we all waited until we knew what we were doing, nothing would ever
You're
get done.
absolutely right. I have to agree.
All right. Well, I'm up with the next question.
Yep.
So, James, one of the things we ask every writer who comes on our show, and many other creators too, outside of writing, is what is their creative process? So, I understand this is your one big work. This is your passion project.
Hmm.
Walk us through how you put this together.
Well, I kind of did at first. When I did the first draft, it was mainly just laying in bed and thinking about it and reading um, from one page to the next and watching it play out in my head. Well, when I finished the first draft, it was probably 25 to 30 pages, something like that. And when I when I first finished it, I was so excited. And then I read it and I realized that there were holes in it and I needed to fill these holes. And I figured, oh, okay, I guess this isn't going to take very long. I thought the question that I had was pretty simple. Um, but like I said, it took 7 years. So I guess it wasn't that simple.
No, no. I
So,
can tell you right now, that's not a simple question.
so it was just a matter of reading each page, and I would just say, okay, I need to add this, and so I take that page and I'm writing in my notes, or whatever my thoughts were, and then I type it and then print it out. And after I went through the book the first time, maybe it was 32 pages. It hadn't graduated very much. And so the process basically was rereading the story over and over again. That's why I said I probably read it 100 times before I was done, because I kept having to read it and see if it made sense. And it didn't mean read it silently. I had to read it out loud as though I were reading to someone to see,
Mhm.
to hear how it sounded. And so, yes, that was the process. I would sit at work during my breaks. I would have a page in my pocket. And when I got a chance, I would scribble some new thoughts and rearrange the words and then type it up again and print it out. And then when I get another break, then I look at that. And that went on for, yeah, several years.
I, I understand we have a close friend of ours who is a newly published author, and we were his beta readers. And I think I must have read how many different copies of that book? A dozen?
At least 3.
At least three.
At
I
least
mean, it
3.
just
Yeah.
yeah. So it and it because that was his passion project. It was the thing that he had to write.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He finally got it published. I was very happy for
Oh,
it.
that's great.
Mhm.
I'm happy for him too, because believe me, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's not just the writing. After that, then there's the legal parts that you have to put together. So
Alright, what do you do? This is sort of outside of what we had sort of planned, but what what or do you do anything to promote your book? I mean, do you go to any conventions? Do you have a blog? What do you do anything like that?
I do have a Facebook page that is Planet Storyland, and I do promote Planet Storyland on a number of platforms. And I have been to book fairs. The marketing part is a new area for me, and it's
Mhm.
really difficult.
Yeah.
I have my book in 4 libraries. And that's a process too. It So much of the information that I need to figure out how to get the book out there. It's it's just so scattered, and it's just like trying to find you all was a process. Um, Trying to find a place where I can have an interview and talk about the book.
Mhm.
So I have a few outlets that I go to promote it. Um, it just hasn't become a bestseller, although I think it will be. Um, the marketing part is very difficult. It would be nice if I knew somebody that knows how to do that. And I'm brand new, I'm completely out of my element. Even though I've been in sales before,
Mhm.
I just don't know how this is done. So I just try different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look it up on YouTube.
Can you imagine how many videos I would have to look at?
A lot, a
Yeah.
lot.
I didn't say it would take you just a minute. I said
Well, at my age, things need to move along a little faster.
absolutely. Preaching to the choir here, preaching to the choir.
All right. Well,
Uh,
now let's transition to dun 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 the most important question.
uh, actually, we haven't really had the chance for him to talk too much about the book
Oh,
itself.
Oh, that's right.
Uh,
Give us your book
just
pitch.
yeah, tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah.
You talked briefly about it, but a little more in depth.
okay. So the question was, what would a kid from another planet think about how we live?
Mhm.
So the main character, his name is Quentin Augustine, and he lives on the planet Gliese. He lives with his mother, father, and his sister Carmen. One day he goes to the library and he finds a book. It's titled Earthlings. It's a rather interesting looking book because it has a picture of a planet on it, and it's dark blue, and it has a yellow border, so it's kind of eye catching. So he opens the book and he starts reading, and he is so excited that he decides, okay, I'm checking this book out. He goes up to the counter and he goes home and he starts reading the book. Well, his
Mm.
father comes in and sees this book, and he asked Quentin, where did he get it? And he said, from the library. And what Quentin learns is that the people on Earth look exactly like the people on Gliese. So he's really excited about that. The only difference is the author of the book Earthlings told how Earthlings live in suspense. And that was made Quentin rather curious to where he wanted to come to Earth and see what it's really like. And his mother told
Mhm.
him, absolutely no, it's dangerous. His father was more diplomatic, and he decided, I'm going to have a discussion with Quentin to find out if he really understands what he read. His sister, on the other hand, was kind of like a teaser, so she just teased Quentin about his idea. So Quentin decides that he's going to come to Earth anyway and share what he learned in the book Earthlings with us.
Okay. So he's going to teach the Earthlings about Earthlings.
You know, his father made a joke. He said that if you go down there and you tell them that you have some good news that'll change their life, they're just going to mock you. They're just going to say,
Mm.
you know, look, we need money, job, something like that. Now, if you have that, then we're interested.
Mm.
So he tried to tell him that he'd be wasting his time if he came here.
Mm.
And such is the nature of man.
Isn't that something?
It is. It is. It is. That's one of the reasons why I'm so glad that I'm going to be retiring soon from my day job, that I can follow my passion, which is talking to wonderful folks like you, James.
Oh, why, thank you very much.
Now, James, now that we have gotten the pitch, tell us where people can get the book.
Okay. It's planetstoryland.com is the main website. On there, they will see the opportunity to buy the paperback or the ebook. And they will also get a chance to read other people's opinion about the book. I believe there's probably about 40 reviews on there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And also they could look it up on the search engine and just about purchase it at any book outlet, whether it be Barnes and Noble, Amazon, or any of the others. So yes, it's available.
Great.
We'll make sure we get that out in the show notes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if people want to follow the Facebook page for the group, for Planet Storyland, what's that called on Facebook?
Oh, it's called Planet Storyland. And if they just wanted to know more about some of the things that I do, they could just go to my personal Facebook page, which is James Sherwood Metz.
All right.
All right, and we'll make sure we get all that stuff in the show notes so
Terrific.
folks can find you easily.
And that's the picture of the book.
Ah,
Ooh, very nice.
nice. Nice. Looks great. I'm excited. Well, James, I want to thank you. We want to thank you for taking time out to join us for this chat and talk about you and your journey into writing this book. It's been wonderful to meet you, and we appreciate you again taking the time.
Thank you both very much. I really appreciate the opportunity of being on your show and meeting you both, because you seem rather interesting. More of my type of people that have more going on than just trying to live life. It seems like you have some really cool interests, and I would have to think that from this podcast that you have, you've probably met a lot of interesting people.
Yes.
That we have from all over the world.
Wow, isn't that cool?
It is extremely cool. That is probably the best part of doing this podcast, is getting to meet all these different creators and hear their stories and the things that they do. And it's like, it's like, yeah, I'm a rocket scientist, but I wrote these books, or I'm a chemical engineer and I wrote these books. I started my own publishing company.
Yes.
So this is really cool, and we've just added you to the list of cool people that we've talked to.
Thank you. You know, if we think back to when we were kids, we never would have thought of anything like this. You know what I mean?
No.
That's why I say
That's
we're
fan
absolutely amazing. We really are.
you know, Adam Savage from Mythbusters once said on an interview that his wife stopped him one night and she said to him, "You know that you are the hero that 12-year-old you wanted."
Oh, wow.
And that is probably the biggest compliment I think that any creator or maker has ever gotten. So I just, let's hear it for all the makers. And also, something I want to bring up before we go our separate ways is I want to raise my water bottle to all the mothers out there who have encouraged reading in their children.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and I wish more would, because it's an amazing journey. It's an amazing journey. Reading the stories that people have created, and some of them are funny, and some of them you just can't put down, and some you wish that there was more to it. And
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the day, folks. And we want to thank all our audience for tuning in with us today. And we hope that you're inspired and have been entertained by today's guest, author James Metz. And
Thank you.
this is the Spaceman for the Halfling and the Spaceman podcast. Over and out.